Jonathan Pollard, the former U.S. Navy analyst that was sentenced for a lifetime after being found guilty of passing information to the Israeli government as a spy, has been released after 30 years of such sentence. And now the Obama administration has no plans of letting him go back to Israel, although he's the center, Margaret, of one of the most contentious issues in between the two countries. For a long, long time, Israel has been advocating for him. But in the beginning of the story, back in '87, they denied being involved with him. They said, no, he was acting with rogue agents. We don't know anything about it. You're on your own, buddy. And 12 years later, in '95, he was granted the citizenship from Israel. And 2 years later, they actually accepted that he was a spy for them and started advocating for his release. Now, finally, he got released because his health was deteriorating really fast. But yet, they're trying to push for the Obama administration to change the terms of the parole so he can go back to Israel with his family.
It's interesting that at first Israel hung him out to dry, and then they eventually said, okay, yes, well, it's undeniable that what he was doing was he was acting as a spy on their behalf. Look, languishing in the federal prison system, the Bureau of Prisons, for as long as he did, convicted under espionage. That's what his charge and conviction was based on. And the White House refusing to alter the terms of his parole, you can understand why, these are very serious charges, 30 years in the federal pen. At the same time, Jose, they're one of our chief allies. So would we be acting differently if this were a different country?
Well, it happens in every bilateral communication and negotiations. These are tokens. In the past, back in 2014, he was already an element of the very important negotiation that the U.S. was trying to broker in between Israeli and the Palestinians. They were trying to say, well, if we release him, then you have to give me some concessions in this conflict. That didn't happen, so he was not released. But we know that this was planned ahead. This is not something that the decision was just made in the leading months. This was made, in good advance. And now we see what's going on. But at the same time, it's a moment where Israel and the U.S. are trying to kind of get together and be friends again after a period of cooling off right after the Iran deal. Israel was not very happy, and I think this is kind of trying to warm up the relationship.
Maybe this is now our time to make the concession and say, okay, yes, Pollard can go back to Israel. Perhaps
we'll see.
A petition might be helpful.
Pollard said that he was trying to serve to two countries and he was not worthy and it didn't work. So he regrets being a spy for Israel, but at the same time, I'm guessing that he's very happy to be released and probably join his family.